We've got some news here on a Monday night. The Cincinnati Bengals and running back Zack Moss have agreed to a new reworked deal that will keep the running back in Cincinnati for the 2025 season. Plenty on this to come, but first, make sure you guys hit that sub button if you haven't done so already. That's youtube.com/Bengals TV. Anytime any Cincinnati Bengals breaking news happens, we've got you covered with the video here at the channel. Don't miss out on any of our coverage. Hit that sub button for me right now. So Mike Garafolo of NFL Network is the person that originally reported this story, putting out this tweet saying Bengals running back Zack Moss agreed to a reworked final year of his contract to get guaranteed money and security in a deal done by his agents Jamal Tucson and Kate Ferreira. Moss is recovering from a neck injury that cut last season short. Clearly, the team is confident in his return. And I think this really is great news for the Cincinnati Bengals. I had my questions on whether or not Zack Moss would be back with this football team in 2025. Moss, of course, originally acquired in free agency last season after he had spent some time playing with the Indianapolis Colts. Did a great job as Jonathan Taylor's backup. And then really when he got here in Cincinnati, he checked off a lot of boxes for Zac Taylor and the Cincinnati Bengals football team. Heard great things about Zack Moss from his teammates, and it kind of felt like it was only a matter of time before Chase Brown took that lead back spot. But if you remember last year, Zack Moss got the majority of those carries to start the season. You know, they said it was going to be 50-50. It probably was a little bit more, I don't know, 70-30, 65-35, right, in favor of Zack Moss. And then, of course, it then became a little bit more of a 50-50 split. And before too long, Chase Brown had taken over that running back one spot. And then, of course, Zack Moss suffered that serious neck injury. If you remember, he suffered it in practice. It actually wasn't something that took place during a game for the Cincinnati Bengals, and it was really serious. And a lot of people didn't know if he would be back with this football team, if he would even be able to play football in 2025. So the fact that Cincinnati is reworking this deal and he will be back, that is a great sign for not only the Bengals, but of course the health of Zack Moss, because that tells me that things are trending in the right direction. They believe he is well on his way to making a full recovery. The contract is going to be reworked, obviously, so that tells me, we don't know the details at this point exactly from that report from Mike Garafolo, that would tell me that he's going to take less guaranteed money, so that salary will be down, and that cap hit will also be down for Zack Moss. And it's typically, you know, what happens if a guy is coming back from a serious injury, wants to stay with a certain team, they work things out, but that money usually goes down a little bit. Get to the pin comment of today's show. Are you happy that Zack Moss is going to be back with the Cincinnati Bengals? I think I totally am. This is totally a Y for me, but let me know what you guys think. Type Y for yes or N for no. Are you happy that Zack Moss is going to be back on this football team in 2025? It is the pin comment of today's video, so if that ad comes here on YouTube, you know the drill. It's totally fine. Take advantage of it. Get down in the comments. Let us know what you think. Things definitely are, a little bit interesting now at that running back position when you're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, right? Because now they have guys in that room that include Chase Brown and Samaje Perine, and now, of course, Zack Moss coming back with this football team as well. Kendall Milton was a guy that was on their practice squad. Additionally, wouldn't expect guys like Travion Williams and, Chris Evans to be back with this football team, but I think you've got now a quality stable of backs. And a question for this football team going into the NFL draft was, hey, are you going to be taking a running back in this draft? Keep in mind, you only have 6 picks. And I wouldn't rule out taking a back in day 3, but even thinking about one day 2 or really any of those first 3 rounds, I think now that's kind of out the window, right? Because you have 3 formidable backs on your football team in Chase Brown, Samaje Perine, and Zack Moss. And I think now with this Moss coming back here on this reworked deal, that kind of, ever so slightly kind of eliminates one of your holes on your roster, right? I think certainly would be fine to still draft the running back. This reworking of this Zack Moss deal does not necessarily mean, hey, Cincinnati's not going to take a running back. Wouldn't surprise me if they did, but this was kind of unexpected for me. I didn't, anticipate getting this news here as we approach the end of April here on April 21st that, hey, Zack Moss would be back with this football team. But I think it is very much good news. He offered you a lot of stuff. Obviously the leadership, being a veteran player, but also the pass protection for Joe Burrow and also the threat out of the backfield when it came to catching some passes as well. So I think overall this is really good news for the Cincinnati Bengals. We will continue with more on Zack Moss in a second, but we do got to give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time because today's at-home edition of Bengals Breakdown is presented by Game Time. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch or the start of your event, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets and, of course, NBA playoff tickets as well. They got those last minute deals, save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. They got the zone deals. Really love that, right? Save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats for you. Also, the all-in pricing, targeting this feature up front, allows you to see your total up front so you don't get hit with any of those surprise fees at checkout like some of those other ticketing companies can get you with. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, all guaranteed. All right, more on this running back situation now with the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, you brought back Samaje Perine in free agency. Now the kind of question is, okay, your running back one is very clearly Chase Brown, but who is that RB2? Is it Zack Moss or is it Samaje Perine? I think when you're definitely in a pass-first situation, I think that lends itself to be more garnered towards Samaje Perine and his abilities, right? I think that's probably the main reason brought him back, right, to be that third down back. But you've also got some quality stuff in the passing game with Zack Moss as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Dan Pitcher, Zach Taylor deploys these running backs for the Cincinnati Bengals this season. Pick an RB2 for me. Let me know in the comments section. Type ZM for Zack Moss or SJ for Samaje Perine. I'm going to know what you guys think. It's an interesting question now here at this point with Zack Moss coming back to this football team. Let me know. Type ZM for Zack Moss, we're talking RB2, or SJ for Samaje Perine. Again, overall, I think this is a great move by Cincinnati. I think you got to be really happy for Zack Moss in this instance as well, because he had done everything that the Bengals had asked for him, and then he suffers that serious injury with the neck. And you don't know, like, is he going to be back with this team? Is he even going to be able to play football again? And it was such a weird injury because, of course, it took place during practice and not in an actual game. But Zack Moss is going to be back with the Cincinnati Bengals in 2025, a part of that running back room. And I think, in my opinion, that is good news for this football team. That'll conclude our at-home edition of Bengals Breakdown. Some news coming at you from Mike Garafolo. Zack Moss reworking his deal. Will definitely be back with the Cincinnati Bengals in 2025. Be on the lookout for video tomorrow. Adam Schefter of ESPN put out a ton of draft notes today, and we're going to have that broken down for you guys in a video tomorrow. So make sure you guys check that out.